Welcome back to the Readiness Report, episode number 16. 16 weeks in a row we've been doing this. Pretty damn cool. 4 months. 4 months exactly. And so there's a lot going on in the world. We're very excited to also have on the show Dakota Meyer, who will be on after the commercial break. And I gotta say, it's been a fun ride for the 16 weeks.
Yeah, well, there's been no shortage of news.
Yeah, that's 16 weeks. Really so much to talk about. We've also had on all kinds of great guests. Like Dakota Meyer last guest. Of course, we had Mel Chancey, President of Los Angeles, former President of Los Angeles, General Petraeus, Roger Stone. Roger Stone was supposed to be in the office. Yeah, he's supposed to be in the office yesterday.
Find the suit again.
It's funny. Roger said he texted me and said, "I apologize. I almost have to read the text the way he typed it out, but something to the extent of Mrs. Stone reminded me that I have twice missed my dental appointment. I am not a fan of the dentist, but I cannot cancel again."
She told me the dentist here.
Yeah, no chance. Yeah, but he said he couldn't make it, and he'd like to reschedule for Friday. Obviously, we leave town tomorrow, so it's like a super hectic day. So I said, okay, we'll see how it works. But definitely we're gonna have Roger in the office. It's not gonna be tomorrow. It will be next week for sure, and that'll be a lot of fun to show him around. I told him we'll bring him, go eat some sushi, and
maybe get some candid stories from him.
yeah, some stories that maybe he couldn't tell, couldn't tell on the show. So I'm excited to have him in the office. Let's start on the news. Before we go to the news, if you have a question for Dakota, you can text us, not him. This is not his phone number, at 561-473-4673. And there's the number right there at the bottom. By the way, can we go to the studio camera to show Ryan? And of course, so we also normally he's not here. Instead, we have who's there? So that. How good will Ryan be? Will he be as good as Johnny Snell's? Better. Not as good, better, same. We'll find out.
I mean, what if Christian replaces Ryan as Lord of the Doors?
Yeah. Christian's over here.
He shaved. Maybe a job.
And one hell of a good guy, and also now taking the responsibility to lead for the question. So if you want to, one more time, if you want to text Dakota at 561-473-4673, and we'll ask Dakota a question at some point during the show.
And they'll send inappropriate pictures back, Christian.
Yeah, don't none of your pictures. Let's start off with our update in the world of Kanye West. What is the name of it? What do we call it? Our man here, he's and Kanye is no shortage. Kanye in the birthday party, not the Democratic Party or the birthday party. So the story this week is there's drama. There's drama in Arizona on the ballot there. There is a lawsuit that has been issued. And basically, one of the constituents, or one of the people there in Arizona, is suing Kanye, saying that he is not actually from the birthday party. He's actually a registered Republican.
Well, yeah, because he actually is registered as a Republican. So now, does that mean he's registered as a voter as a Republican? I mean, because again, you could run. I mean, throughout history, there's been multiple times where someone has switched parties to an independent, or so. It's interesting, the lawsuit. I mean, I wonder how is that even a lawsuit? All the shit going on, like how do you?
Well, as we know very well, you can sue anything for anything, anytime in America. And but anyway, so the lawyers for Resident Rayson Clayton said the lawsuit was filed Monday for independent candidate, basically saying that he is not an independent candidate, he is actually a Republican candidate and shouldn't be able to.
Because you can't have two Republican candidates.
Yes, exactly. But the thing about it is, as you said here, you need not change its registration, but he can say he's an independent, and I assume that he would be. I don't think you have to go change a piece of paper, although I'm not an expert on that.
Yeah, but I mean, from who was it? Back in like the 90s, that he went from a Democrat to an independent just to get the independent vote, right? To run neutral?
I think what it comes down to is a lot of people, as we've discussed before, believe that Kanye is running as independent to pull away Democratic votes from Joe Biden, so that his friend Donald Trump has a better chance of winning, which is the president. It seems believable. I believe it, but he's also not in his right mind. So we don't know.
I mean, married to Kardashian, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, that may have ruined him, but I think
that's what killed him.
in other news.
That'll kill us.
But kill us with the engagement. You can't have that. So we need Facebook to like us. So Mark, you're a very handsome man, very handsome, muscular man.
Muscular.
You know, the deal is, obviously, as everybody knows, there was drama with Russian collusion, also bullshit ads that are misinformation. You see all the time now. There's always some bullshit about this is fact checked or whatever, right? And you know, the fact checkers are in India or wherever they're at, so it's like they don't know what's going on anyway. And quite often they make mistakes. Meaning with our ads that we run, I can tell you, they'll think something is Kai. It's a great example. Kai Green, remember this? Kai Green ad we had when I owned Dynamic Muscle. Red was getting going. It was Kai flexing, right? And they wouldn't play that. Facebook fact checkers. Yes, it was nudity. His breasts were bare. His breasts were bare. His pecs were so big. But the Facebook fact checkers in India thought that it was his breasts because he had long hair and everything. So, like, this is a woman.
This baby, but
Yeah. So anyway, they are now saying they are not allowing any political ads to come after October cutoff. And you're not allowed to run any new ads. Now, if you have an old ad, you know, from October or previous, you're good. But if you have an old ad, I mean a new ad, brand new ad, you can't run it.
isn't it? From just a common sense standpoint, like if you're gonna take those stance of no political ads, just no ads. But it's funny, like if it's in before there's money, you're good to go. They want the marks. They're not gonna come up with it.
No, they're not going to turn off an ad. It's okay, and they're going to allow the ads that are going already because there's money going right. So the idea, right? The idea is that during that short period of time, there's going to have all this action, all these new ads, and the fact checkers can't check it fast enough.
Yeah, they're just gonna keep coming out.
Misinformation. You have a Russian campaign to not elect, you know, out of this pursued Biden, right?
Yeah, try to change the vote.
Or you would have, you know,
anti-Trump.
yeah, whatever, who knows? So they're not allowing it. I think that it's you know, Mark Zuckerberg, when he started, said that he's not a proprietor. He doesn't decide what's truth and not truth. He's not going to decide. He's not going to be the decision of deciders of what's real and not real. They're going to allow free speech, and that's part of a major part of the platform. And obviously, that has significantly changed these days. So now, I mean, now it's extremely left-leaning and very, yeah. So it is what it is, but that's what's going on. I thought that was super interesting. Next on our list, Ryan. So the news with Nancy is she went for a hair appointment. You have that one, Ryan?
I do.
Nancy?
No, I've been there over the years. I've been there many times. I appreciate the question.
Oh, okay. I thought we were getting more of it.
You don't want more.
Yeah. So the idea is, I know. So Nancy goes to a hair appointment, which is interesting because obviously it should be closed, right? And she goes in there and
This was California,
California, not wearing a mask, and gets her hair appointment when she's a big proponent of not only wearing a mask, but keeping things closed, businesses closed, yet she needs to get her hair done, and that's it. And she goes and does it. The salon owner videos it, puts the video from the security cameras up, and panic ensues. People start freaking out and everything. Obviously, Trump and everybody on the right shows her being a hypocrite, right? And people are like, she's a hypocrite. She is. And her response, which I found particularly humorous, is that she said this was a setup, and that the actual salon owner actually owes her an apology.
Yeah, it's good, but it's like you still. That's funny. She gets in trouble. She gets caught, Yep, goes against, essentially everything she's saying, but now it's this person's fault because they allowed it.
Yeah, they set her up. They set her up. So if it wasn't for them setting her up, she would have done it.
She wouldn't even get her hair done.
Which is such bullshit, because what the hell, it doesn't make any sense at all. So she goes and gets her hair done, and because they invited her, but what difference does that make?
She still chose to go.
Yeah, so I don't know how that is a response, but
I told you though, it's just all complete bullshit.
yes.
Because again, her agenda is just an agenda. It's not actually probably what she really believes.
Exactly.
So she needs a haircut like mine. It'll be fine.
Why can't she have somebody come to her house and do it at her house?
Just like we do.
Yeah, right here, we have our haircut, we literally, people come, we have Sandy and Juice come here to cut hair. You don't have to go anywhere. So, next, no, she ain't coming here, but next on our list. Stock market on the show, more than probably most people watching it would be aware of, because we were keeping abreast of the situation, The stock market has obviously been very interesting because it hasn't followed the rest of the world. So, you had this huge downturn March 23rd when coronavirus really started kicking off, and it dropped like a rock. And then from there on, it picked up like crazy, like a rocket ship. And then has now been hit, yesterday it hit new highs. Everything hit new highs. It was like a crazy thing where we beat everything. The Dow, S&P, everything was up. And then today, finally, the market really took a dramatic hit. Apple down like 8 or 9%, and tech stocks are a majority of S&P. So when the tech stocks go down, S&P 500 go down.
Those major six that made up like 43% of the gain are the ones that took the biggest hit. Apple, Tesla, I think Amazon, Microsoft, Facebook, down 5%.
Bang. FANG. Oh, is that that's the initial to FANG? Yeah. That when they go down, that's such a large portion of the S&P 500. It drives everything down, but it also drives the market down. As people see it, those things going down, they see S&P 500 go down, and they're like, "Oh shit, it's all going down," and people start selling. And so that's what happened today, and it was a correction, right? And I'm still thinking that there's going to be something more serious than that in the future. But what do I know? I've been proven wrong here quite a few times lately.
I think as we get closer to November, there's going to be another big movement like this because, again, it's just a redistribution of wealth.
Yeah, well, I think the thing that I feel like is almost a certainty based on talking to investment bankers of the world, investment guys and everything, is that if, hypothetically, Biden wins, then there will be a serious downturn because things like capital gains and stuff are dramatically changed. Like, one thing people are surprised about, when I'm saying, is capital gains go from 20% to a regular ordinary income, 37, 30. Well, now for him it'll be 39.6, or 39.8. So for if that were to happen, that changes dramatically a lot of people's lives, a lot of very wealthy people's lives. So
Well, that's what people forget. The people with money, they're just going to shift it somewhere else. They're going to shift it out of the country.
also, that's a lot of times that's the people that are employing hundreds of thousands of people. So it changes. It definitely changes the dynamic. And while people may think that sounds good, you say, "Oh, Jeff Bezos doesn't need nearly that much money. It's ridiculous." Yes, well, he employs hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people. If you make it not appealing for somebody to do that, then those jobs don't appear and that industry is not created. Yeah, while I can totally agree that Jeff Bezos may not need $200 billion, and maybe that would be better served elsewhere. Would there be a Jeff Bezos if everybody had the same amount of money?
If Jeff Bezos didn't have that kind of money, how many people wouldn't have a paycheck? So
A lot, hundreds of thousands of people. Last story of the day before we bring on my friend Dakota, the rock.
By the way, or good afternoon or good evening, wherever you're at around the world right now. I wanted to give you guys a little helpful update on some of the things that I have been going through on my end for the past 2.5 to 3 weeks now. So the update is this. My wife, Lauren, as well as my 2 baby girls and myself, we have all tested positive for COVID-19. And I could tell you that this has been one of the most challenging and difficult things we have ever had to endure as a family, and for me personally too as well. And I've gone through some doozies in the past. I've gotten knocked about and got my ass kicked a little bit in the past with some challenges, but testing positive for COVID-19 is much different than overcoming nasty injuries or or being evicted, or even being broke, which I have been more than a few times. And the reason why I feel like this is different is because my number one priority is to always protect my family and protect my children, my loved ones. By the way, I know I speak for all of you guys. It is our number one priority. All of you guys around the world, you always want to protect your family and your baby.
All right, Eric. So next time I get the flu, I'm gonna make like a public service announcement with my Redcon logo on my chest, talking about how my family's been affected. Yes, fuck off, Rock. But, I hate to say, I mean, you hate to hear that his family and his kids got sick, but who gives a shit if you got it or not?
And he's looking.
Yeah, he's not affected by it.
Like, no, I'm sick.
Yeah, I mean,
Huger.
I don't know. I just think that's, to me personally, it's just like the whole NBA right now. It's a misuse of your public image, you know, and the power that you have. Because it's not like he's talking about like, here's the things you should do to prevent it. It's just like, oh, look at us, we were sick, we survived. Like,
And then he says, don't be fat, basically. Like, be in shape, work out and stuff, and all that. Wear a mask, you know, all that other stuff. I would agree. You're right. I mean, it's like, unfortunately, it's almost like, you know, he didn't, what I would have loved to hear him say is like, look how fucking jacked I am. Didn't hurt me, didn't hurt my kids are fine, my wife's fine, don't be scared, you're gonna be okay. Take the precautions you feel necessary for you and your family, but we're fucking fine. We're great. I'm better than ever. I gained 10 pounds on COVID, you know? You know, like you should be like the fact that it's like that, when they're all okay, everybody's fine, right? Like, these little kids are fine.
be different. One of the kids was like in intensive care, and it was like, hey, just give you guys an update. You know, is this really serious? But it's just, I don't know, it's just odd to me. Sorry. I have a bad taste in my mouth over the whole thing, because it's just gone on for way too long.
Understandable. Totally understandable.
So anyone who's had COVID, I apologize, but can you give it to me so I get over this?
Yeah, well, everybody that we know that's had it, and we know quite a few people that have had it, that it has, now keep in mind, the people I'm talking about are obviously not elderly, right?
People our age.
People our age or younger really have gotten sick for a day or two, sometimes 3 or 4, and then felt better, and then that's it. I mean, there's been I don't know anybody who's been like, anybody really at all. Even so, my father-in-law is not I guess his stepfather-in-law. His mother, who's 90, got it and recovered.
Yeah, again,
She's bedridden.
Anybody who's been sick, anybody's died from it, like, that's not, mine's more of like, people our age, younger, that are healthy, and it's just like.
No loss of life is okay, right? But unfortunately, that is part of life. So like, that's the tough thing, is talking about anybody dying is never easy, because nobody, you know, whether if it's my also like Bernie Carrick lost his mother.
Yeah, I know.
His mother died from COVID. And so like, that's fucking real. I mean, like, that's his mom that died from it. And his mom's also 90 years old. But Bernie still would tell you, because he's logical, would say like, hey, you don't have to meet for my kids or whatever, my wife, you don't have to be concerned. You're gonna be okay, right? And that's where it gets crazy, where if people get too wild about what it could do or whatever. Anyway, whatever.
I'm looking at hazmat suit.
Yes. Well, I mean, there was a time where that wouldn't have been that out of the, you know, out of this world. Right now, we do a little more. But anyway, guys, let's go to commercial break. When we come back, we'll have Dakota Meyer.
Redcon 1 just turned 4 years old, and we've got free gifts for everyone. We're celebrating all weekend. When you spend $50 or more, you'll get this exclusive Black Patriot tank top absolutely free. Spend $80 or more, and you'll receive our fat-burning powder Double Tap. Choose any flavor. Spend $95, and we'll add a 2-pound bottle of our meal replacement powder Emery Light. Choose between our blueberry cobbler or our oatmeal chocolate chip flavor. Enjoy an extra 30% off your entire order when you check out if you use the code Patriot30. You only turn 4 years old once, so let's celebrate all weekend. Visit redcon1.com to shop while supplies last.
It's a unique time in the world right now. You might have let your diet go. Getting to the gym probably is pretty difficult, or maybe for some of you guys, impossible. When I started thinking about doing another readiness trials, I figured people probably right now have real life issues. Like they're depressed or their finances, lost a job, maybe even lost a loved one. So that's probably not the right time to do a transformation contest, right? Well, that's exactly what I was thinking. I remember the moment when that all went through my head and I was like, wait, hell no, this is the best moment for a distraction, for a goal, for a focus that isn't the news. I mean, the news is crazy. It's a great way to refocus your mind on something that isn't negative, like the riots, defunding the police, viruses, Kanye West for president.
I have decided in 2020 to run for president.
If you ask me, a goal and a journey, plus being part of a community that are all going after the same thing is exactly what you need right now. We've done 7 readiness trials now, and it's gotten bigger and better every time. We can't stop now. We're going even bigger. Last time we gave away $75,000 in cash and prizes, and our grand prize winner, Michael Sparks, won $50,000. This time we are truly going bigger, $100,000. That's right, 100 grand. And it's not even the biggest change. The biggest change was you spoke and we listened. And we're now gonna have 15 cash winners with the top 5 people winning $10,000. And for the first time ever, we're gonna have free coaching to help you make the most dramatic change. We even enlisted the help of some of our celebrity coaches and judges, Jesse Bowen, Adam Shearer, and Martin Ford. It sucks to say, but if the money and the goals aren't enough, think about your health. We're learning a lot about COVID, and there's a tremendous amount of confusion and even misinformation out there. But one thing we know for sure is that people who are in better physical shape do much better if they catch it. Having a body mass index of 30 or higher actually increases a person's risk of developing a severe case of COVID-19 by 27%. And a body mass index of 40 or higher doubles the person's risk. That's what the Harvard doctors say. You can either enter by buying one of the Redcon 1 readiness stacks, or if you're already loaded up on Redcon 1 subs, you can buy a ticket to enter the contest for $75.
Tickets will go on sale August 15th.
When you buy either the stack or the tickets, you'll receive an email exactly explaining how you're going to enter and how to submit the pictures. Don't worry, we won't show your pictures to anybody unless you're a finalist for the money.
Before submissions are due August 24th through the 31st.
You'll have that rolling week to decide when you want to start, and then you're going to have 12 weeks from that point forward to finish the contest. Remember, this is a transformation challenge, not a physique or bodybuilding competition. The best and most dramatic change will be rewarded. Look, 2020 hasn't gotten off to a good start. I'd like to challenge you to hit the restart button with Redcon 1 and change your life forever.
My name is Ben Galloway.
And I'm Matt Saraceno.
We are the Tier Operator Management Team, and we invite you to join the Redcon 1 family.
I joined the Tier Operator program because I wanted to be part of something bigger than myself.
Being a tier operator is phenomenal. You want to keep tiering up. You want to work for, yes, the best company in the fitness industry.
Redcon 1 helped me reach my goal, which at the time I didn't even know was a goal.
The products work. It's what it is. And I want to help other people reach their fitness goals using these products.
I love that it's like a big family. I really enjoy that we can get together at events like this, and it's like even though we're thousands of miles apart, it's just like we all know each other like we're neighbors. We're not just out here trying to make sales, we're out here trying to change lives.
Apply to be a tier operator today.
Okay, welcome back, guys. Before we get going, let me just say the tier operator commercial. If you guys are interested, one question we get asked more than anything else is how do we be part of Redcon 1, the team here at Redcon 1? And the answer is go to tieroperator.com and join today. It costs nothing. You don't have to buy anything. There's nothing attached to it in terms of purchasing or being, there's no strings attached. Yeah, so go to tieroperator.com and check it out. Look at the steps, see that you can, first off, you can become a person that has, infinite possibilities, a group of like-minded individuals, and you can also make some money, get free supplements, and have a good time. Right?
Yeah, I mean, things like demos, if you want to do demos for us, that's the way you get into that program. Yeah, so it's the way into the brand.
Yes, so let's welcome Dakota Meyer to the show. Dakota Meyer Medal of Honor recipient, also one hell of a great guy and my friend. Dakota, thank you very much for being on the show.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. So Dakota literally just got off his shift at the fire department, right?
I did. We've been training all week.
What you guys were doing? What were you training?
We did live fires yesterday, and then today's been a bunch of medical stuff. So then I go back on shift on Saturday.
How was the medical training stuff and everything?
It's all good. I mean, it's the majority of what we do, right? I mean, that's how we exist is the medical piece. And I honestly, I find I mean, look, the fighting fire is the closest thing to being in a gunfight that you'll find. But I like the medical side of it because I like to help people. Like I like to get in there and talk to people and try to whatever problem they have, whether it's significant or not, to me, like it's significant enough for them to dial 911. So it's always it's fulfilling to be able to be there for people in their worst moments.
Did you what made you want to go back? We're gonna talk about a whole bunch of things today, but since you just got off your shift and people are gonna wonder, like, well, what's Dakota doing being a firefighter, right? And how did this even happen? So give us the genesis from you deciding to do this to now where you're in the midst of training.
Yeah, so I felt like I got out of the Marine Corps in 2010, and I felt like I spent plenty of time going out and focusing on myself, building businesses and just building the life that I wanted, right? And I felt like it was about time. I knew I could feel it, like probably the last couple years, that it was about time that I was going to need to go back and start, focusing on the world and the community that has allowed me the opportunity to be successful and to build the life, to have a life for my kids. And so I knew it was coming. I could kind of feel it. And then, this COVID stuff hit and a lot of my stuff slowed down, and I was like, what am I going to do? And I knew it was a sign that I did a CPR. I was volunteering for a department out here by my house, and I did a CPR on a guy. And I said, this is it. Like, this is why I'm here. This is why COVID happened, to slow it down so I could go get these certifications and go get this training in. And here's my opportunity to start giving back to the world.
That's awesome. Very, very unique, super unique. When we talked on the phone, I should say, let's start by saying, there was a tough time in my life about a year ago or so. And so me and Dakota didn't know each other very well at that. We were friendly and stuff and talked on the phone and everything. But we didn't know each other that well. And this tough time in my life happened. And a lot of people that I thought I was very close with, that I thought I was extremely close with, didn't call me or didn't text me or whatever. And basically were like disappeared. I was PNG'd basically. They're like, oh, he's the bad guy now. And so, and Dakota called me and said, hey man, you're okay? Everything all right? Your family okay? What can I do to help? Hey, and if there's anything I can do, let me know, whatever, I'm here. And that earned a lot of brownie points with me, man. I was like, well, this guy's for real. And all these
I'm not good at a lot, but I'm good at judging character. And, I'll never forget, somebody else sent me like a text message about you and goes, and I hadn't even talked to you at this point. And they go, yeah, here's your buddy. And I just wrote him back and I said, yeah, it's all bullshit. I don't even have to ask him. Like, it's all bullshit. I know, like, the guy's a good dude. Like, it'll all come out in the wash, and then you'll be the one getting laughed at.
Yeah, that's what you told me on the phone too. That's what you told me on the phone. And I was like, man, this guy's like, that's solid. That's a solid dude.
I can just relate. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how many times like I've had everybody on the boat, right? Like when the highs are high, everybody wants to be there. They want to be at the parties, and they want to go on the trips, and they want to go to the speeches, and they want to go, on the experiences. They want to, look, when I was at every Super Bowl every year, and I was at all the Maxim parties and all this, I mean, I had everybody. I mean, you talk about, my phone blew up. I had more friends than Carter had pills, right? And as soon as one thing negative would come out, everybody would start backing up, right? And I think those times are good, though. I think that's what the opportunity is in times like that, is you get rid of the fat. You get to trim the fat. It's kind of like you go out and you get all these friends and everything's good. You're making money and you're, everybody loves you. And that's kind of like the bulking stage. And then you hit these rough roads, and it's kind of like cardio every morning, right? Like everybody starts out in the beginning. It's kind of like the New Year's resolution. And then about a month in, you figure out who's there that matters.
I think that's a very good analogy, and I know for sure you're right. Where people before for at least for me, before anything happened, there were certainly a lot of people that were piled on, either looking for money, a paycheck, right, or looking for a benefit, like you said, maximum parties, right, or something, or whatever it is, right. They want to be invited to the Olympia after party or whatever, right? Sit at the table at Excess, whatever it may be. Right,
Yeah,
they want to hang out, and then all of a
that's what it
sudden,
is.
all of a sudden, I can't. And so anyway, it was refreshing, and I really appreciated it because there were so many people that did the opposite, that it really set you apart, and that was awesome. And obviously, since then we've talked many times on the phone. Usually at night when I'm having vodkas, and I don't know what you're doing over there, but that's
Probably
usually
the same.
Yes. Hopefully not as many vodkas as me, but yes, for sure. But that's usually the way it goes. So just kudos to Dakota, because there are very few Dakotas out there, unfortunately. Very, very few.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, man. Is my audio good? I know it's kind of weird to ask, but is my audio good?
Is our audio
coming through good on this
They
side,
said thumbs up. They said thumbs up. Yep.
Okay, good.
You're good to go. You're good to go. So let's go back to everything else. How'd you get in the Marines?
I mean, I grew up in a small town in Kentucky, and I grew up with my dad, and I've got my dad and my grandfather, by far the two best men that in my opinion, have ever walked the face of the planet. And I played football, I played sports. I was just I wasn't really like a gifted athlete. I had to just outwork everybody, right? And I was young, so like I graduated when I was 17. I wanted to go play ball somewhere, but like it's kind of hard when you're 17. You come from a school that's like a 1A school. You don't, when you're the best on the team, it's hard to get better, right? And whenever, even the best on your team is mediocre for another team, it's just, you can't be any better than what, you're surrounded by. And so, it's kind of hard to come out of a 1A school. I could have probably walked on somewhere as an outside linebacker, maybe a strong safety if, depending. But I don't know, like one day a Marine recruiter was in my high school, and I don't know what got me there. I went up to him, started asking a lot of smart aleck questions. And he said, what are you going to do with your life? And I said, well, I'm actually going to go play football somewhere. And he said, well, that's what I would do too, because you'd never make it as a Marine. And so I was like, I'll sign your papers today. Let's do it. So I signed up, and I left for the Marine Corps on June 18th, 2006.
Wow. Super smart recruiter, huh? Jeez, he was a fucking stud, man.
Well, there is a reason that, the best marketers, some of the strongest marketing is Marine Corps recruiters, because they do it they actually go to this whole school of all this craziness, and like they actually do it on one of the lowest budgets of any DOD organization.
Man, we need to get some.
Yeah, we need to get some more Marines in here.
I like that. That guy is a stud, man. He came up to you and you're not going to do it. You won't laugh. We go, okay.
You'd never make it.
Sign the papers right fucking now. I'm in.
Yeah, I dare you.
Yeah. Perfect for you. Perfect.
Yeah, perfect. I mean, he just knew what he was talking to. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He literally, as we talk about the customer experience, he had the perfect customer experience for you. So you joined up. And so I don't know, probably a lot of people know, but maybe our listeners don't know, but you were a Marine Corps sniper also, which is not an easy thing to do.
It was. Yeah. I got in the Marine Corps. I became an infantryman. And then I went over and wanted to try out for the sniper team. And so I tried out, and I got an opportunity to go to sniper school before. So I was part of that surge that Bush did in 2007. And I got to go to sniper school. I gave up my pre-deployment leave to go to sniper school, went to sniper school and graduated, and I became one of the youngest snipers ever in the Marine Corps. And then left immediately, turned around, got out like a week, and then turned around, left for Iraq, Fallujah, about a week after sniper school.
That's pretty cool. Anybody who doesn't know, Marine Corps sniper school is not an easy thing to go through or pass. It's super difficult. And I don't know, a lot of people would argue that that may be the most difficult sniper school, right?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the other branches send their snipers. I mean, I went to Marine Corps sniper school with Navy SEALs. I think we had a couple SF guys in there. Yeah, so I mean, all the special operations send a lot of their guys to our school just because of the integrity that the Marine Corps upholds in the sniper school, the standard that's held there. It's one of the best sniper schools inside of the DoD.
What was the most difficult thing you had to do there? Like, what's the evolution or whatever the thing that's the most difficult portion of it in your opinion?
The problem is you can get dropped at any time, right? Like the problem is there's so many tests, right? Like there's so many things that are droppable, like, kicked out of school, like you have to pass. There's so many standards you have to meet, right? Like it's a knowledge piece of it. It's an observation piece. It's a stalking piece. Like you have to pass all these different stages of the course. And like any point you don't pass that stage, you're done. Like you'll pack it up. It doesn't matter if you make it to the last day and you don't make it through the final effects. Like if you fail mission planning on the final effects, and they don't see you as a competent sniper, well, you're out, right? And the sniper community in the Marine Corps is so small. It's only like 300 guys, and in the entire Marine Corps, school trained snipers. So you've got snipers who are training snipers. So their standard that they uphold are they only want guys who they would want on teams with them. So if you're going through the school and you're going to hold the title, like they are going to hold you that standard. They're not going to go easy on you. Like my chief instructor, he's now Gunner Skinner, but at that time he was Staff Sergeant Skinner. Yeah, Staff Sergeant Skinner, and he was ruthless. I mean, he was, but he made good snipers. You know what I mean? Like he was hard. So probably the hardest piece of it was just, stalking was pretty tough for me. It was pretty tough. I'm not one of the, I'm not a graceful person. So, stalking is about finesse, and it's about, there's really, you have to and I'm not really patient, right? Which is kind of hard as being a sniper is, there's a lot of slow movement. There's a lot of, being able to take your time and understanding when to move and when not to move. And at that point in time, when I was 19 years old, actually I was 18 years old. And at that point in time, I was just about just run through doors, right? Like that's just what I did. And so it was probably the hardest task I had, but yeah, all of it was pretty tough. The physical part of it was fine for me. Like I was physically fine at all of it, but it was just the finesse part of it, of like stalking, and then some of the shooting parts of it. The unknown was the unknown distance, where we have to kind of measure out the targets with our scopes and all this and that, spotters and stuff. And that was kind of that was a challenge too. But outside that, the rest of it wasn't anything that was astronomical. It was just about mentally getting yourself to that point to be able to push on.
Yeah. So we're going to just touch on this stuff because I know. So I guess I should ask before we even get going. Medal of Honor, how many times have you told this story? Because I'm not going to make you tell the story.
Man, I'll pay you not to make. But anyways, I'll tell whatever. I've told it a lot of times, and it's I think I try not to look at the dates. I try not to look at the dates this time of the year, because I think it's on, I think is Monday the 8th?
Yeah.
I think it is. It's in 5 days. So today's the 3rd, the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. No, Tuesday's the 8th.
Tuesday's the 8th, yeah.
And so Tuesday will actually be the 11th year anniversary of it.
Wow. So it's coming up.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
So the kind of question I had, when Aaron and I were talking prior, obviously it's probably something you never thought you were going to win, but
you don't win.
You're awarded.
Yeah, you get awarded, whatever.
Sorry.
No.
But is it something that sometimes maybe that, you just did it because that's just who you are, and that act got you the medal, but are there times that you're kind of like, man, I wish this didn't come into my life?
I mean, I wish I was never awarded the Medal of Honor, right? Like, I begged the president, I begged my chain of command, I begged the Commandant of the Marine Corps, I begged the Secretary of Defense, like, I begged all of them not to give me a medal. Like, yeah, I mean, obviously I would change the outcome of what happened that day, but I'd say, like, if you said, would you do it again? Yeah. The only thing I would tell you is I wouldn't have came out of that valley. Right. Like they would have pulled me out with them. Like if I would have knew then what I know now, you wouldn't have got me out of there. Do you know what I mean? Like, I would have, it's probably a good thing. But I probably would have done things a lot different. The most honorable thing is there's nothing more honorable than, look, in a way I look at it like I'm fortunate, right? Like I get to see the world in a perspective that most people won't. Like I get to, and what happens with that is you get like a, I don't want this to sound cliche, because I'll tell you, everything I say, I believe with every moral fiber of my being. So, but every time you get to see something like that, you walk away from it and you get a perspective on the world that most people can never have. You get an appreciation for people. You get appreciation for life. You get to see through a lens. Like, imagine every situation and hard thing you go through. Imagine that it's like a polish on a lens, right? Like glass is polished, right? And let's imagine that every time you do that, you're polishing that lens, right? Or you're sharpening the edge of your knife, and it's getting sharper and sharper and sharper. And so, like, I got to see a lot. Like, it changed. I mean, it forever changed my existence. The guy that walked into that valley literally died that day, and there was a new guy that came out of it, right? And you got to choose who that guy was going to be and how were you going to use this experience, right? So do I ever wish it didn't happen? Like, look, I would give anything to just hug my guys again. I mean, I would give anything to see Kennefic smile. I would give of course. I mean, these guys were my best fucking friends, you know what I mean? But on the backside of it, they got to die the most honorable death that any man on the face of this planet could only hope to die. You know what I mean? I mean, going down in your boots in a gunfight against an enemy that is trying to, against evil, right? Like, it's really that simple. Like, how else? Like, we're probably going to die from some stupid cancer or some dumb shit. You know what I mean? Like, these guys got to die an honorable death. Us three are never going to get American flags draped over our bodies as we die. You know what I mean? Like, they literally went down for a purpose. And so, I definitely don't feel sorry for them, right? It's like, I don't feel sorry for them. Like, it sucks 100%. I feel sorry for their families, but we all went over there knowing what we were doing. But, it's like, do I ever wish it didn't happen? Obviously. But I mean, it forever changed my existence. And now how I use that is on me.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I know that's a long-winded answer.
No, it was a good answer.
It's not an easy, it's not a quick and easy answer.
It's a good answer. And, it's funny because obviously I haven't been in anything even remotely close to the situations you've been in, but unfortunately, I've seen people die firsthand up close. And even that experience, which is much, much less, not even comparable, it does crystallize what life means, right? When you see a life extinguished, you go, oh shit, like, this is finite. It lasts whatever, this long or whatever, or this long. And then you go, oh, so this is what it's about. And it could end at any time. And you better think about it differently. And I walked away from those kind of experiences saying, wow, so I got to think of things differently now. Now you were a much bigger part. I was a witness to it. You were part of the whole thing. And
Yeah. But it changes your perspective, right? Like, I mean, and it doesn't come down to, well, whose is bigger or who's done more or that yours is worse. Like I just know what it's like to hurt. You know what I mean? I know what it's like to see shit that sucks. And, like, and honestly, if I hadn't have done that, like, think about this, like you want to look at the micro and macro decisions and turns in life. If I hadn't have done that and I hadn't have gone through what I've gone through afterwards, I would have never met you and I wouldn't have texted you that day. You know what I mean? Like, you look at all these perspectives and it's like every little sharpen, like, I know what it feels like to have that stone hit the blade at that angle. Right. And that's why I can relate to other people. And so, like, now, when I go on a call or whenever I get to touch people or I get to see somebody or I get to see somebody who's down or negative, or I look at the way the things that are going on in the world right now, I see them from a little bit different lens because my perspective and my priorities are a little bit different because of the things that I've seen.
100%. You know what? And that's the thing that I always, I think to myself is that the things that have been bad in my life, I would never, ever in a million years change because they're what brought me to here. Right.
Exactly. Like one decision changes and you're not where you're at. Like one little thing, you know what I mean? Like one little thing changes, one turn left or one decision of you not wanting to get up that day. You could have missed that opportunity that forever changed the rest of your life. Right. Like one decision of you to, like every little turn and every little struggle and every little win, they all matter. Right.
Now, Dakota, do you think that's God, fate, or chance?
Well, it's 100% God. I mean, it's 100% God is, you don't have to, like, I'm not into religion, right? Like, I think religion is man-made. I mean, how do you turn Christian? And nowhere in the Bible does Christianity talk about 30 different denominations, right? So I think that that's the human spin on it. But I do think that there is a God. I think that there is I've seen what God can do, and I've seen the power of whatever you want to believe in. There's somebody bigger than us. There's somebody who has more control of us. And so I think that honestly, that everything that we're doing right now in the life that we've already lived has already happened, right? It's already planned out. I think we have a limited number of days. And I think that we are all here for a purpose, and it's just up to you to find that purpose. Right. And I think that's literally it. And I mean, absolutely. I give all the credit to God.
Yeah.
Because if you don't think you're going somewhere better, like imagine this, imagine you going to your company and waking up and sacrificing being away from your kids and your family and your friends to go out here and to build a company. If you didn't think that you were going to change people's lives, because I know that that's the number one reason you do it. And because not just with the products, but just with the culture you build and by living the example and by being able to be around people and provide them that opportunity, it's just it's so much bigger. Right. And then that you weren't going to be able to, like, at some point sell it and then move on and be able to build the life you lived and then to be able to enjoy it. Right. Like imagine if you didn't have that. Well, imagine living on earth and not thinking that there was someone bigger and that there was a bigger plan and that you were going to go somewhere better at some point. If not, then you might as well be in a prison serving a death sentence.
Yeah.
Like, why would you get up to, why would you get up to be a good person? Why would you get up why would you do what you do? Right? Like, if you didn't think you were changing anybody's lives and you didn't think you were going to change your life, would you put in this effort? Like, would you not question what you were doing?
I mean, I agree with you. I think there's a natural inclination to want to help people and want to make progress. And I think that's part of the whole thing. Now, I'm same as you. I don't know. I mean, I'm not religious in any way. And I don't know what's right or what, I don't know any of that shit. But I do think there's something else going on. It's not just us here on a rock that spins around the sun and there's nothing else going on. And we just happen to be here and that's a coincidence, right? And I think that there is a bigger purpose. Or else, why would we do this? Why give money to anybody? May as well keep the money for ourselves and have fun, and
Yeah, why? Like, why? Like,
may as
why
well,
would anybody show up when you needed help, right? Like, imagine how terrible the world would be. Imagine if nobody believed, like, I truly believe that a man who follows no man is a lost man. Right? Like, if you don't follow somebody else, if you don't look up to somebody, if you don't surround yourself by people, if you can't look around and say, I've got 5 people here that I think are badass, and that, like, I want to, like, if you don't see examples of what you want to be like in your lifetime, then, like, what do you do? Like, how do you get better? Right? Like, that's why gyms are badass. Gyms are like life, right? Like, you walk into a gym, there is no hiding who's putting in the work. You know what I mean? Like, you walk in there, you surround yourself with big guys, like, you're going to get big.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. You are who you surround yourself with to some degree.
And you don't have to follow God or nothing like that. It's about knowing the people you want to be like knowing the people you surround yourself with. You know what I mean? Like, you're only going to rise to the level of what you're surrounded by.
I totally agree. And I think that people who don't subscribe to that, by the way, show that can. Try not.
Yeah.
Jocko, look at this. Go. This is Dakota's shit right here. If you don't know, you should know. This is discipline. Go.
That's right.
You drink on the market. If you don't know, go buy it now.
Dak Savage.
We don't have energy drinks, so
And we're one of the few people that'll promote other people.
We will always promote.
No,
other
it's
people.
why you guys are badass.
Yes, we always will, man.
This world's big enough for everybody.
We're not. So although I am, as Dakota probably has seen or knows, I'm extremely competitive, but doesn't mean that everybody can have their own thing and be, look at this, put that shit on there.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Ryan,
You guys are the best.
I just bought some. Ryan, what are you doing, bro? Man, you get like a 96 pack.
96 pack. You guys are out of control.
I mean, life. So this is another thing that both Eric and I truly believe is that the pie is not a finite amount where it's like, oh shit, if we have this much and I tell people buy this much, then there will be nothing for us. We don't subscribe to that. We don't believe in that. I want everybody to be successful. Any good person that has good qualities that I like, I want to help them.
Yeah,
and that's part of. And I don't know if that's Dakota, if that's God or the universe or something.
No, I mean that's just you. That's just you being a good person, right? I mean, that's what you've always been. You've always picked up the phone. You've always reached out. I've always, look, I talk to you as much as anybody else. You've always been there. Anytime I've ever called you, and that's how I judge people, right? It's like, I don't call people often, but like when I call, do they pick the phone up or return my call? Because if they don't, then really how invested are they? If they're only calling when they need something, you know what I mean? It's like, it's just that's how you know where people are at, and you text me all the time. How you doing? It's just, that's why, you're always encouraging about my energy drink, you're always sending me product.
By the way, so we should say that. So
yeah,
the way that me and actually Dakota got met up initially, was that he wanted to. You want to tell him? You tell him. This is before everything. This is a long time ago.
You tell him.
Okay. So, am I okay to tell him? I don't know if I should. Okay. So, I don't know, 3 or so years ago. Was it 3 years ago?
Probably 3 years ago.
3 years ago. So we were doing maybe, I don't know if it was our first Readiness trials or one of the very first Readiness trials, and Dakota reached out and said, "Man, I seen you're doing this thing. I want to get in crazy shape. Let me be part of it. What do you want to do?" And I told him, "Fucking let's do it." And I said, "It'd be great."
Still fat.
Yep. And I said, "What can I do to help you?" And he goes, "Nothing. I want to buy them myself. I want to buy the supplements." And so I hooked him up with a Marine, Zach Leeds, who works for us. And Zach reached out to him, called him on the phone. He ordered his supplements, paid for them. Zach was thrilled, by the way, to talk to you on the phone and sell you your supplements, right? Get his commission, but sell you the supplement. And Zach, by the way, has moved up in the company, is now a sales manager and done a great job, by the way. and he was thrilled, and it was really cool. And you sort of did the readiness trials.
Yeah, I quit halfway through it. I was fine with the dad bod.
It didn't work out exactly the way that me and Dakota thought it was going to work out, but
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. I'm going to come back next year. I'm actually still working on my before picture.
You're going to make a big transformation, Dakota. It's going to be great.
Yeah, one day.
But you are looking better though. I saw you recently. You're getting, I don't know if it's the firefighting or what's going on over there, but you look,
It probably is. Like whenever I'm sweating for, every single day, it's like I'm in a hot box 24/7. So, it's like, I don't know if it's water weight or if it's true fat. But I'm going to get there, I'm still, like I said, I'm working on my before picture. I think I got to get it perfect before I can work about the after.
Don't get there too fast. You want to like cheese pizza it up, pepperoni pizza it up, right? And
I see.
Oreos for the next readiness trials. But that is how we met and started interacting. Is that Dakota wanted to make the transformation, and the plans were to win big. And
yeah, they were. Yeah, and I didn't win big. Probably like lost big.
Yeah. Well, you put a lot of resources into the beginning. You bought like $1,000 in supplements. So
I did. I was ready to go. And then
thank you, Dakota.
Yeah. I just wanted to support you.
Thank you. Oh, that's the best. I love
me supporting you was way more important than me, my health.
By the way, just so you know, people out there, Dakota didn't want the money from the readiness trials for himself. He was going to donate all the money.
All of it.
And I was like, man, wouldn't that be a great story, right?
Yeah, I think it was the very first one.
It may have been. It probably was.
I think it was.
I think it was.
Yeah,
it was a few years ago.
Yeah. It was a little bit, and you were like, I want to donate all the money to a military charity. I'm like, oh my god, what a great story.
That would have been a good story. And then
it would have been great.
Then life happens.
Jeez. All right. Let's get back to the questions here. What do we got
After
here?
You demasculated.
What's up?
You know what I'd like to ask? We won't even go on to questions, but current events. So, like, the world is a weird place right now in Dakota.
Yeah,
very weird place. And obviously, you're there doing the firefighting gig and helping people, saving people, and dealing with the world in a microcosm of where you're at. But in the world in general, it's in a very weird place. Do you have any this is a wide question, but do you have any opinion?
Which part? Just pick a part you want to talk about.
All right, so let's talk about COVID. Because COVID, we talked about in the beginning. Did you hear the very beginning? I know you were working on something.
I was going back and forth, but a little bit.
Okay, so COVID-19. I just to reiterate, right? I know a bunch of people that had it. I know about thousands of people that didn't have it, but I know a few, few dozen, and every one of them's okay, no problems, kind of like a flu or less. Some of them, most of them less. Have you experienced that yourself? Do you know people that, and then what's your opinion on it in general?
Yeah, I mean, look, we see patients with it, right? It's something that we have to be conscious of. I mean, the last thing I want to do is bring something like this unknown. It's not really, it's just the unknown piece of it, right? Like, do I think I think the problem that we have in this is not, look, when people call it the flu, okay, it is like the flu, but it's just more contagious, right? Like, I think that's a piece that we don't, that is the big difference in this aspect of it. Obviously, I think it's 100% political. I think that it's politically driven. As far as the fear of it, the unknown of it is unknown. I think that nobody knows, and I think that politics are literally playing off that. And I think is terrible. I think it's terrible for them to put fear into the American public. So I think that the fear piece of it is more dangerous than anything else, right? Because it's shutting our economy down. It's changing people's lives. Like, I think that's the real danger. Look, COVID is real. Like, I think it's a real disease. I mean, I don't think we can argue about that, right? Like, I don't know that it's as crazy as people make it sound. But what I have a problem with is, look, I don't care to wear a mask, right? Like, whatever that I mean, whatever, right? Like, look, wearing a mask, like I used to have to wear I've been places where I had to wear a vest 24/7, right? I'm not going to bitch about a mask. If it's going to save somebody. My problem that I have though is if the government is going to hold me accountable to wear a mask, at what point do they start holding accountable people to be fucking healthy? Like, why am I sacrificing, but other people don't have to? Like I don't see. Now, listen, there are these cases that people who you look at and you're like, gosh, I don't know how they got it, and it kind of hits you where it's like, if it could kill them, like it could kill me, right? But who knows if it was just their day? Then those are like the minute percentages, right? You go to the older side of it, obviously, elderlies, but then you go to these unhealthy people, like the people who it's getting, you're like, I'm not surprised, right? And it's not necessarily, the fact of the COVID that kills them. It's all these bad decisions. It's not just one bad decision of, hey, this person went out to the market today and got COVID. It's no, this person was eating like shit forever, and this person never exercised, and this person was making a terrible decision all the way up to this point that got them all these other facts, these other problems. And I can't think that when you look, what can you guys are pulling up stats right now. Go look and see what number we are in the world of the most unhealthy country there is, right? And I can't think that the statistics those don't correlate together of those two pieces. So the problem I have is, okay, look, I'll wear the mask, I'll do the song and dance, but at what point do I have to stop paying, my businesses stop paying and all this other stuff? At what point do I have to, like, I'll sacrifice, but at what point does everybody else have to sacrifice too? Like these other people who are making these bad decisions, right? Like, and I don't know how the government holds them accountable, but at some point there has to be, you know what I mean? Like there has to be some level of accountability for your own decisions.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because I saw a map today where it showed where the cases were decreasing, increasing. And if you took that and layered it over the states with the highest levels of obesity, where it's decreasing are the states where it's lower, where it's increasing are the southern states where it's higher. And so, yeah, those two, I think, are directly correlated. And just, again, because of politics, nobody talks about it.
Well, nobody wants to talk about it, right? I mean, it's all about votes. It's all about, we don't want to hurt each other's feelings, right? Like, it's like big is beautiful. Well, big is unhealthy. Right? Like, you know what I mean? Like let's look in the mirror and start calling it what it is. And, like, let's be healthier. Like, there's no way you can justify. I mean, look, I feel like shit. I could probably lose 20 or 30 pounds. I feel like shit. And I know that, but I'm not walking around saying, oh, well, it's okay. No, it's not okay. But I'm also not making everybody else sacrifice for my bad decisions. You know what I mean? And like, that's the only problem I have with it. Do I think it's real? It's 100% real. Do I think it's political? 100% political, right? Do I think that we need to figure out what it is? Yeah, but I don't think that anybody's figuring out what it is because it's too politically driven. And I think that's the real issue here, is that we can't figure out what we need to do and what we don't need to do with this virus and how dangerous it really is, because it's so politically driven that nobody's got down to the facts to figure out what the answer is to it,
So come November, once the elections are over, do you think, or do you predict that all of a sudden the coronavirus will be less of an issue?
I do. I mean, I already think it's becoming that, right? Like you already see it dwindling off. You already see, it's already dwindling off, right? Like it's already going away. Here's my fear though. My fear is this, and is after the elections. I mean, it's I think we've got one more end of the world crisis before elections, right? Like they're gonna screw something up to make one more end of the world deal. They're holding something probably what is this, getting ready to be September. I would say about the third week of October, third week of October, you're going to see something astronomical of how the world's going to come to an end. I don't know if they're going to shove in a North Korea that Kim Jong-un died and his sister's going to do something like, and you know what I mean? There's going to be something that you're going to see. I mean, I know they're pushing this China case real hard. You're starting to see dwindle up. Hillary's already setting up they're already using. So what they're doing is they're playing off what Trump, and look, I'll tell you up front, I don't like Trump and I don't like Biden. I think that it's sad that our world, that these are the two people that we feel like is best to represent us. But I mean, out of the two, like, Biden is a complete moron. So what I do think though is I think what's happening is the Democrats are trying to use Trump's strategy, right? So Trump's already bringing up how they're trying to do these mail-in ballots, and then Trump's he's already putting the narrative of how the Democrats are going to cheat, right? So you already noticed that they're going to spin off that. They're tired of fighting against him, so they're going to use what he's saying to validate their loss, right? So what they're going to do is like, you see Hillary already putting it out there to not go ahead and concede, right? No matter what, don't concede, because they're going to try to cause this uproar that Trump didn't win because it was all rigged, because it was mail-in ballots.
So with that in mind, what about the other direction? If Trump hypothetically, Trump loses, will he say peacefully leave office, or will he say
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think he's going to make sure that he feels like he got beat. But yeah, I mean, Bill Clinton making comments like, and this is the problem I have with all this, right? Is first off, I don't agree with Trump when he said bring the military in to fix these riots, right? Like, first off, that's not what the military is built for. The military is built to go overseas. Our police, we got a federal, we got our feds. You put U.S. Marshals, you take the FBI. I mean, we have plenty of people who could just, the cops in this world could fix it if they allowed them to do it, right? But I think that Trump's not. What do you think he's going to do? Try to have a standoff in the White House? Like, no. I mean, he'll go home. Like, he'll take his loss and he'll go back to doing what he does. I just think it's so crazy that we're trying to play off all these fears of, I hate when I hear people say, well, when's it time to take our country back? Like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Like, when people say shit like that, they have fed into the wrongs. Like, the media has gotten them just as much as the media has gotten the side that's protesting. You know what I mean? When you hear those, it's really crazy. And we got to be really careful about saying those things, because when you say that, you have a 17-year-old who hears it and who feels like he's got to make a stand. And so the difference in us and him is we're mature enough to know that it's not time yet. A 17-year-old hears stuff like that, and guess what he does? He has his mother drive him across state lines, and he pulls an AR out. He kills 3 people, and the rest of his life is ruined. You know what I mean? I think I lost you. I don't have any audio.
Audio's gone.
There we go. I got you now.
Okay. No, I'm with you. I'm not really sure who's the right person to run this country at this point, but so I know you've had a little presidential experience. How was your beer that you had with Obama, and how was that conversation?
Take the politics. Let's get out of the politics of it. He was a nice guy. Like, President Obama he treated my family great, treated me great. I'd been with him multiple times. Always a really nice guy, right? Really I always enjoyed his company. I always enjoyed being around him. I always enjoyed being around President Bush. But I don't agree with anybody on everything, right? as far as like, I just care about how people are as decent human beings. You know what I mean? And I don't think until anyone sits in that seat or until anyone has to make those decisions, I just don't know that we're qualified without all the information to ever armchair quarterback somebody. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and believe me, that's a position I would not want. I mean, you're the
No.
leader of the free world, and I mean, I say it all the time, especially now with the way the world is. It's damned if you do, damned if you don't. It's like you can't make a right decision no matter what you do. So I would not want to be in that position, no matter who you are.
Yeah, I mean, it's terrible. It's terrible. But look, at the end of the day, like what I don't hear enough about is, do you guys ever know those people you hang around and all they do is bitch about problems, right? They're always negative. Like it doesn't matter what you do. If you gave them $1 million, they would bitch because they had to pay taxes on it, right? That's kind of what America's gotten to, right? Like you look at it. What I don't hear enough about is I don't hear people saying, and it really disheartens me. I hear people talking about that we live in the greatest country on the face of the planet, because you still take our problems and you could probably multiply them by 10. And I promise you that we in America have problems that every other country wishes and only dreams to have.
Yeah.
And so what does that mean? What does that mean, right? It means, like, when I look at these riots aren't as bad as everybody's making them out to be, right? Like it's not affecting me. It's not like I don't see anybody rioting trying to take over my house, right? Like, yeah, there's small riots popping up, but the majority of the population, the majority of Americans are still waking up and doing the right thing. The majority of Americans aren't sitting here wanting to hurt each other. And isn't that really what it is? And the media is just feeding in and trying to lie to us to make this such a bigger deal than what it is. If they would stop giving it attention, it would go away. But because we're in an election, it's going to get the attention and nobody wants to do anything. And I just think it's really unfortunate. And at the end of the day, the problem is that our police officers are the ones that are having to pay for their hands being tied. You know what I mean?
99.99% of America is not being affected by the riots directly. I mean, but unfortunately, because as you said, being in a political season, the presidential election, this is a very highly politicized time. And it seems like, because you see the news, you're like, oh my God, the riots are coming. They're going to be here anytime. I don't know how we're going to handle this. And it's actually causing a lot of Americans to go buy a gun and appreciate the Second Amendment. But I mean, it's very, very tiny in the scheme of things. We haven't had any riots here anywhere around us. So I've never been like, oh no, they may be around here somewhere in Boca or Fort Lauderdale, and there's probably some in Miami, but I haven't really even heard of that, honestly. So it's like,
and you want to know what the biggest problem is? Like, here's the biggest problem: this is how disconnected our leaders are. Look how old Congress is, right? Like, I mean, when's the last time you think majority of them even knew the problems that me and you deal with every day? You know what I mean? Most of them don't, especially the ones who have the most power, right? You take Mitch McConnell, Nancy Pelosi, you take Biden. I mean, you go down the list of it. Like, they have no idea what a life like us is. They have no idea what our issues are. They have no idea what dynamic of the world we live in. So they're so disconnected. And let me tell you how you know they're disconnected, because what they do is, and they have played off this, and here's where they've messed up. And this is the good part, is that they've played like this race thing is going to last. The majority of us in America, like, we don't look at it like that. We're past that. That's their generation's problem. You know what I mean? Like, that was the older generation's problem. Like, I don't wake up and judge somebody based off their color. I don't judge all that. Like, that has, like, I couldn't care less. I don't care if you're a Democrat, Republican. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what God you pray to. Like, I don't care who you marry or what sexual preference you have or what you want to identify as. Like, look, as long as you're happy and you're a decent human being, I really couldn't give a shit what you do in your personal life. And if you have to identify as all these and believe a way that I can't understand or believe, okay, okay. If that's what you need to do to be a decent human being and to contribute to this idea of democracy and to live happily in the United States of America, that's fine. Who am I to look at you and tell you how you need to live?
I like that. I like that. And I think that's very true, Dakota. I think you're 100% on target with that. Is this generation, I don't care. So when I we have a lot of diversity here at the office, at the Red Con One office. We have 125 or so employees at the office and 15 or so employees at the gym or so. I don't know.
Yeah, we probably have 140 people total.
Yeah, and never once have I thought, oh, he's black or oh, she's whatever, anything. It doesn't matter. It's strictly judge people based on the merits of their character and their job. And I don't even think about it. And so like when people compliment, and I've had like my good friend, the Honorable Rob Wilkins, who was like, I admire your adversity in your office because he's been here and he knows everything. I'm like, well, I don't even fucking know about it, honestly. That wasn't intentional. I hire who's ever the best for the job. We don't think about like, oh, well, she's black, so I'm going to hire her. I don't care about that shit.
Quota to fill.
It doesn't matter.
Well, that's what I'm saying is, and where you take away from what everyone earns is when you start putting those quotas, right? Because then people look at it and they take away the credit of, well, he only got hired because he's a minority, or she only got hired because she's a female. No, take away those quotas. They got hired because they fucking earned it. You know what I mean? And like, that's the problem. But listen, this is the I hate to say it, this is the Democratic way.
I think I think you're totally right, and I think you're right also saying that this is a different generation who is conscious of that, because this generation, let alone the newest generation, they don't give a shit. It doesn't matter. It's not important, and so nobody's saying no 20-year-old is saying, well, I hope that in college, that they give whatever Latino people a better shot at Harvard. Nobody gives a shit. They're like, whatever, we're all the same, make everybody equal, and anybody who's the best should go to Harvard. It shouldn't be a white person, a black person, a Latino person, a Muslim person, or a gay person. Nobody should get an advantage. Everybody should be equal. And if anybody thinks that's not the way it should be, then I think they have a problem. And it's a bias on their part. If you want to say that black people should get a better shot at getting into Harvard, that's, in my opinion, that's racist.
It's just as much the problem as it is the other way, right? But I think that like, just like even like kneeling on the flag, right? Like kneeling during the national anthem. I don't give a shit. I really don't care, right? Like if that's what you want to do, if that's what you feel like is in your best interest and that's how it goes, like I promise you, I've got a lot of other problems that I would like to figure out before I need to work. If that offends me, then I'm going to get offended on a daily basis. I probably need to toughen my skin up, right? And the way I look at it is when I see like, not riots, like riots, Antifa is a complete a domestic terrorist group, period. Like there's no other way to identify them. But when I see someone kneeling on a flag, when I see someone peacefully protesting the way that they're supposed to do it, that's what my guys died for, right? Like people are selfish. And if they're going out there to voice their opinion or whatever they feel like they need to do, if that's what they need to do to get it out of their system, and if they can make change, and as long as they're bitching about problems that they have a solution to, I'm all in. Let's do it. But I just feel like, there's no conversations being had, right? Like there's nobody sitting down. It's even, but it starts. But I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drive this whole long-winded piece home. You don't think that this is a direct reflection of leadership? Like you look at the chaos, like this was bound to happen. I called this 3 years ago. When you see so much fighting between the Republicans and Democrats all the time, when you see Trump fighting with everybody, when you see all that up top, like if you see parents fighting all the time in the house, what the fuck you think their kids are going to do? This is the problem with the chaotic environment that Congress and the leadership who has a pedestal, and even people who have a microphone, who have Instagram, who have all this statuses, like the guys who get on the rants on their stuff, the people who are spinning it, right? The people who are doing what I call the emotional hand grenades. Like all those people have a little bit of skin and blood on their hands as to what's going on inside the United States of America right now. And when they don't want to act like adults, you don't think that that's a trickle down effect? And this is only going to get worse until we get adults up in Congress who are literally here not for Republicans and not for Democrats, but they're here for Americans. And until that happens, like, you're only going to see this chaos rise and tension rise and the media and all this.
So do you foresee that happening in terms of like getting the adults in Congress
No.
stuff? Or
No,
do you,
it won't happen. But like you said, you just said it, right? Like, when you look at it and you watch the news and you see this emotionally charged stuff, like, I think the cool part is I think the news, if we play it right, the news could be non-existent in probably like CNN and like all those big newses, Fox and all that. I think you could probably get rid of those probably in 10 years because the social media is taking over, right? And you will be able to follow people that you trust, and you'll be able to follow people that you'll get your information from sources that you believe and you know how to find it, kind of like people are doing now, right? That's what I hope happens. Is I hope that we can find a way to get rid of the media as we know it, and we can start, people can start selecting what's important to them instead of having someone or some network tell them what's important to them, right?
I wouldn't be surprised at all. I mean, in our industry, in the bodybuilding and fitness industry, all those magazines that I loved as a kid, they're all gone. Flex and all of them are gone.
Yeah, all but one.
Muscle Mass, those are gone because now there's no reason to sign a professional bodybuilder and put money onto a contract so that they'll take pictures with you, because now there's social media. Why do you need to follow Ronnie Coleman in the magazine? Because you can follow Ronnie Coleman in real life. You can see what he is doing. And it ruined that industry, which is sad for me personally, for us personally. But in reality, now you have now you know who the guy is. You can see a video of him telling you, this is what I take, or this is what I do, or this is how I train. And I think you're onto something there, where the news could come from the actual people that are making the news versus an outlet that's deciding an agenda of their own or a story of their own.
Absolutely. And I think that's why, but here's what I tell you. I think that's why podcasts like this, and I think podcasts are really important, but there's also a level of responsibility when you have a microphone or you have a following, of being able to see both sides of it and to not, to make sure that you're educated and you're looking at all sides of it and perspectives of it, to make sure that you're giving out good information, because the last thing you want to do is also, you could become the same thing that you're against. You know what I mean?
100%. So one thing that I want to talk about before we end this thing, Dakota, is entrepreneurship. So when you got out of the military, you had all kinds of opportunities and people came at you. Obviously, you did tons of public speaking, and you did, well, until COVID, basically, you've been part of public speaking has been a big part of your thing. But I wanted to have you talk about that part of public speaking and having that as a business, but also the other businesses that you've decided to take part in to actually begin from scratch, and how big a part of your life that is.
Yeah, I mean, look, I do a lot of public speaking. I work with Toyota and the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. I love public speaking just for the fact that I get to go and talk to people. Like, I like to go hear people's problems, and I like to try to give them a different perspective, right? Like, of both sides, just from my life experience. And then, I started a canvas company called Flipside Canvas. It's one of my favorite companies. We do digital art. So it's a lot of fun. The drive behind it was that I like, if I could give or put a piece of quality art in someone's house that motivates them. Art's about feelings, right? Art is about, like, when you look at art, it makes you feel a certain way. That's why people hang, like, you can walk in somebody's house and know a lot about them by just looking at the feel or by looking at what they hang up. So, that's what I did, is I built that I wanted to give high quality, art that people could hang up in their house that would motivate them every day and maybe make their day just a little bit better if I could. Right. And, so I do that. I have a company called Own the Dash. It's an apparel company. It's a really cool company because it comes from, the one thing I've seen a lot of is just how fast death can happen. Right. and it's ugly, and we're all going to do it, and that's just part of it. But like Linda Ellis wrote this poem that talked about how, after we die, we both, we all have this legacy as a tombstone, and on that tombstone is a dash, right? You've got the day you were born and the day you die. But what really matters is that dash in between. And how are you owning that dash, right? Like, we only have control of so many things. I know we think we have control of a lot, but really, you really have control of nothing. Everything else is just a false security. And so, but what you do have control of is what your dash looks like, right? Like, you don't have control of how long your dash is, but you have control of how people are going to remember you. And the way I look at it is every day when you come into contact with people, they're writing your eulogy. They're going to write and what they're going to say about you after you're gone. Like, you're building your legacy. And depending on what you want people to say about you, and depending on what you hope people remember about you, is what you do by how your actions are. And it doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter how many cars or planes or whatever it is. I've never gone to a funeral where anybody's talked about that stuff, right? But what you do is you go to a funeral and you hear about how that person made other people feel. And that's what you get to do. That's really literally the only control that you have in your life. Like, I mean, each one of us could be bankrupt tomorrow. Like, who knows? Like, who knows? There could be a problem brewing that we have no clue about, right? And we have no control of it. We could each, I mean, I could get killed. I could die of a heart attack right now. I mean, who knows, right? But all I know is that every single day I wake up with a clean slate, and every single day I leave it all on the table. And all I do is I have one goal, and that's to try to leave everybody that I see, or everybody that I come in contact with, or every place that I go, I just try to leave it just a little bit better than I found it. And if I can do that, imagine if you could do that, how much better the world would be.
Yep, I agree. One of my favorite quotes comes from Dr. Seuss. It's on my office. Is, you live today as if this is the day you're going to be remembered, because, like you said, every day is potentially someone's writing your eulogy, and it's how, when your grandfather said the same thing to you, like, if you were to die today, what would people say about you? So, I think it's important. I mean, that's the way you really need to live, and then be happy in doing it too. So,
yeah, I mean, I live by the rule of I'm going to live life to die. I'm not going to die in life trying to live.
That's awesome. So, with that in mind, fatherhood is a big deal for me. I have 3 little boys. Eric has 2, and I know you have some on your own. Fatherhood, how big a deal is it for you, and how did that change your life?
Yeah, I mean, I've got my 2 daughters, and they're perfect. They're the greatest thing that ever happened to me. I've got a 3 and a 4-year-old, and they're everything. I think fatherhood out next to being a husband. I think fatherhood is by far the best thing that's ever, anybody could ever enjoy. Right. I think it's one of the most important titles that ever comes around. And I think that, look, I think that's my number one job in life is being a father, and making sure that those girls didn't get to choose who their father was, so I have an obligation to them to wake up every single day and to make sure that I am the best father that I could possibly be. And I owe it to them for that. Right. And so, being a father is by far one of the greatest titles I've ever had in my life.
Yeah. So from one love to another, a smaller love, but we're going to end with this, because I have to ask you, helicopters.
Yeah.
Not children, but helicopters. You love helicopters, and I love planes. And I'm curious, how that got going for you, and then what's the next step for you in terms of helicopters, and then we're going to let you know.
All my buddies fly. I fly fixed wing too. But my buddies, I was getting ready to buy a Saratoga TC. and I was gonna buy that to get around. Like I travel a lot, so I was gonna use it. It would help me, if I'm going to Dallas or Houston. Like it changes. It's a time machine, right? And so I was gonna get that, and then my buddy's like, "Man, like where you go, you need a helicopter." And I was like, "No, I don't really think. No, I'm out." And I flew it one time, and I can definitely relate to how people who do black tar heroin, because that's probably what it's about. Like, I love it. I love it. I love my helicopter, and honestly, like I use it for work, right? Like today I flew it to work, and then I flew it home because it gave me more time to be with my daughters. And if it wasn't for my daughters, I probably wouldn't have a helicopter. I probably wouldn't be able to justify it in my head. But every night that I get to come home, I by getting divorced, I gave up 50% of my time with them, right? So I gave up 9 years right there. So every moment, every hour that I get to spend with them, and every hour I get to be home to be with them, there's no dollar amount that I can put on that. And so that's what my helicopter does for me. It allows me to spend nights at home with my daughters on the days that I wouldn't normally be able to do it, or I'm not as tired as I would have been if I'd been driving 8 or 9 hours. So it's just, for me, it's like a time machine. So what's my next step? I'm gonna get a bigger helicopter.
You were able to land your helicopter at the fire station?
Yeah, I landed there today. I landed everywhere. I landed at, I don't really,
Costco?
I fly more than I drive. I landed all my restaurants I go to. I landed my gym. I landed on it. You've heard of On It?
Yeah.
So I landed on it. I landed where I roll jujitsu. I mean, pretty much everywhere I go, I land my helicopter there.
Is that okay, or do you just fucking say screw it? I'm doing whatever I want.
I guess, like, what are they gonna do? Tow me?
Have you got in trouble for landing your helicopter places?
No, I mean, I've had, like, I think I had the fire department show up one time. So I guess somebody called them and like reported that there was a helicopter going down, and they like showed up and they're like, "Are you all right?" I was like, "Yeah." They're like, "Oh, cool. That's cool." So, I mean, I've had cops come over and say, what are you doing? Like, I had a cop ask me, he said, "Are you breaking the law?" And I'm like, "You should tell me."
So you think it's because you're you, though? Like, that they see you and you're like,
They have
hey,
no clue who I am.
they don't know. Okay. All right.
Yeah. No, I mean, you can, like, the rules are, as long as you have landowner permission, you can land. You can land there.
Little bird land for the Murph. We had the Murph at the gym. I think I told you that. We talked about the Murph at the gym. We had a little bird land. Our friend Paul landed his little bird in the parking lot, and no problems. He's like, "Yeah, it's cool. Don't worry about it. You're good." And I was like, "All right, we don't have to ask anybody." And he landed it, no problem. Took off.
Yeah, you don't.
Good.
Like, there's no, like, unless, like, if somebody lets you land there, you can land. I mean, like, I land it. I'll call a place and be like, "Hey, do you care if I land at your restaurant?" And they're like, "Sure. Where do you want it at?" We'll block off everything. Like, it makes the restaurant look good, right? So, like, I mean, yeah, as long as you, as long as you have landowner permission, because really that's all you're doing is touching the ground on that land. So as long as you've got their permission, like, yeah, I can land anywhere.
Do you ever took a date on your helicopter to land at a restaurant and go for a date?
Yeah, of course.
Oh my God. Talk about
it goes for you and it goes against you, just so you know. Like, it's not, it's definitely not like you don't pick up the women that you want to be around or keep by taking them on a first date in a helicopter.
That's okay, though. I mean,
might just be there for a good time, not a long time.
Yeah. Maybe you're not looking for, like, if you're doing that, you're not going to find Miss Right, probably just Miss Right now.
But pretty damn cool, though. Pretty damn cool.
Yeah, it's always fun.
Yeah, Lamborghini. Forget about Lamborghini. I got a fucking helicopter out there, man.
Well, that is what I always laugh about, is I'll land and, like, these guys are pulling in their Lamborghinis and I'm like, yeah, but you still can't fly.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Like the girls that are with them that, like, the other day there was, like, I don't know what it was. It was either Ferrari or Lamborghini. I can't remember. I can't remember which one they were in, but I landed at this place and the girl who was with the guy in the car walked over to get a picture with the helicopter. You know what I mean? And that's how, that's the flex right there.
Yes, totally. Not for the chicks, but I want a helicopter now if I can land it anywhere.
Oh, dude, for time savings, I completely agree with you. If I could, my house is like 40 minutes and it's only like a 10-mile drive. I'd love it. Just in and out and save you time. You can save more time with your kids, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, in R-44, yeah, I mean, it's the most efficient helicopter. You know what I mean? As far as like economically, right? Like it's not, you're not going to put a ton of weight in it, but like if you're just using it for you and another guy, it's perfect, right? Like it's perfect. I love it. Like my buddy, I go to his house and he's got a helicopter too. So we work out at his gym a lot at his house and his hangar, and it would take me an hour and 20 minutes to drive there. It takes me 14 minutes to fly there.
Wow.
You're just convincing them to buy a helicopter.
I'm
Now I
so
got to fill
into
out fucking paperwork for a helicopter tomorrow.
I'm so into a helicopter right now. Oh my God. My wife will hate a helicopter though. She's scared. Dakota,
Maybe we can land it on the roof.
I think we might. We have to get engineering specs on the roof, but if we could land it on we have the biggest roof. It's unbelievable. It's like
a football field.
It's a football field above the building. If we could land on the roof, then it's like
It literally leads right to the third
then
floor
I'd
of the
buy a
offices.
helicopter. That's the end of it. If I can land on the roof. Yeah, you gotta get an engineer for that, right? Dakota, like check it out.
I mean, I'm sure it'd be fine on your building. Yeah, I'm sure it'd be fine. It's only like, you're only talking about 2,500 pounds.
How sure are you? Like 100%
What, are you
sure?
gonna take his
Or like,
validation?
I would come land on your roof all day long.
all right. Okay, well, it's tempting. I mean,
Is
Dakota.
it concrete?
Sure. So,
So we're good to go.
Is it a flat roof?
tomorrow?
Sure, why not?
Is it a flat roof?
Yeah, it's,
Yeah, it's
it's
flat.
totally flat.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you've got those big air conditioners up there, right? Like all that stuff, those commercial. Come on, if it'll hold all those air conditioners, you know damn well it'll hold that. Like those, how much you think those air conditioners weigh?
Oh, some of those got to be close to 2 tons.
Oh, that's 4,000 pounds right there. So let's see. Give me a good look. Zoom in on that dude.
It's the shape of our shield.
Oh, of course. Look at those. You've got all those air conditioner units up there. I'd land on that all day. If there was a door up there,
There is, of course, there is. Yeah.
well, I'd land there all day. I'd put me a windsock up there. I'd land there all day.
What port should we land at for tomorrow, Dakota?
Yeah, anywhere right there. Or you could land over here on the right on that other piece, or wherever. I'd land. Honestly, I'm fat and lazy, so I'd land closest to the door.
Dead in the middle of those AC units.
It's over there in the AC units, but hey.
Yeah.
I think I want to do it. I want to do it. I think Dakota convinced me. I want a helicopter.
I'll learn to fly any day.
I'd love to.
It only took me 90. It only took me like 84 days from the time I bought my helicopter till the time I had my license.
And have you ever had a scare where you're ever like worried, like, bad time,
Maybe one or two. Nothing crazy. Nothing crazy, but I mean, I've had a couple.
What was the worst one?
Probably the other day I had like had a valve stick. It was like first off, I shouldn't have been flying because it was like 105 degrees out. Really not a good idea to fly in that. It's like it's not. First off, it's hot. It's hard to get. It takes more power and this and that. So I was flying the other day, and then a valve stuck. And what happened was I was doing a low turn, and my rotor. So my engine started to droop down. My power dropped down. My rotor RPMs dropped down. I had to get down and get some airspeed, but I pulled out of it. Like I made it home.
Were you you were super scared or what?
Oh, I was I was super scared. The only other thing that scared me is weather. Like I've got myself into, with the helicopter, like I literally fly treetops. You know what I mean? Like I literally pick up to where I know I'm above any power lines or trees, and like I'm right above the treetops, maybe 20 feet off the top of the trees. And so like, you can get yourself into like fog coming in and stuff. You can kind of get yourself into some positions that you don't need to be in. And so like I was coming back, you've heard of the chive?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So me and John Reesig were coming back on Thanksgiving last year. So John and Leo are the two who started the chive. And so me and John are flying back, and it rained in front of us, like beautiful day. It rained in front of us, and then all of a sudden, when the dew point and the temperature get within 4 degrees, you have fog come up from the ground. And so it dropped the temperature down far enough to where the fog came up. And so like it just socked us in, like it just like it instantly socked us in. I couldn't even see the ground. So I had to I was like feeling for the ground, like coming in, like trying to find a place to land. And we land in the middle of this field, and I had to leave my helicopter there for 2 days, and we had to get a ride home.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it's good that you landed instead of saying, fuck it, keep going anyway.
Yeah, we didn't want to Kobe it.
No. Yes, don't go. When they say don't go, the weather's bad, don't go.
Yeah, listen, you know what they say? The number one killer to helicopter pilots is get their itis.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't understand that at all, because we fly private a lot, and if somebody ever said, if a pilot said, "Hey, it's really bad weather, we shouldn't fly," there's not a bone in my body. They'd be like, "Fuck it, let's do it anyway. Go, I want to go. I have to be there."
Yeah, I mean, look, some of these guys like they do it so much. I mean, you always got to be, you don't really, it doesn't catch you until it catches you, right? And the worst thing that happens is you make it through a couple situations, and then you're like, oh, I can always make it through it. And then, next thing you know, you get yourself into a situation that you can't get through, you know what I mean? Or one thing changes. And, so like, yeah, I definitely, if a pilot ever looks at you and goes, hey, I don't, this isn't good conditions, or we need to wait it out, you need to don't ever push them, because, a lot of times these guys are like, it's their job on the line, right? Like, if somebody pushes them and says, hey, well, if you don't want to do it, I'll find somebody else. Well, they'll lose their job. You know what I mean? It's like, nobody's ever looking out for them unless they're the owner. The owner's looking to make money. The customer's looking to get to where they need to be. And the pilot's kind of stuck in the worst spot. So yeah, if you ever have a pilot look at you and say, hey, let's wait it out a day. I always say, look, aviation is optional. Like, it's always a luxury and it's always optional. So you need to, Mother Nature wins 110% of the time.
I totally agree. So Dakota, thank you so much for coming on with us. I know you had a long shift at the firehouse, and I really, really appreciate it. Dakota was a hard man to nail down for this thing.
I know.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, man. I owe you big time.
You're here, you did it. So there's nothing to be sorry about, nothing to be sorry about at all. So we appreciate you for being here, and we'd love having you on the show. I'd love to have you back on in the future. You know what I'd really love to have Dakota on is one of the panel shows where he could give his opinion. One of the coolest things about you, Dakota, you already know, is you're unfiltered. You're not gonna distill your opinion down or shift it one way or another for somebody else. And that's, unfortunately, this day and time, it's unique, because most people will shift to make somebody comfortable or whatever, whereas you will just say it however you see it.
Yeah, it's good and it's bad. I mean, but at the end of the day, like I just live by this. I just live by this ethos of, whatever I say, I'm willing to fall for. Right? Like, I believe in it so much. I've put thought into it. Like, I'm not going to say something that A, I haven't thought out, that A, I haven't B, I haven't researched, you know what I mean? And C, that I haven't tried to look at the other side of it from, and am I always right? No, I mean, I'm probably never right, but what I am is I'm true to who I am, and I'm true to what I believe, and I'll stand by everything that I say. And I'm always willing to, I always say it with the best educated and the most knowledge that I have. And I think it's fine. I think you can say whatever you want, but I think the problem you run into is when you're not willing to listen and willing to adjust that and to make it a little bit better, right? Like, you know what I mean? I think that's where everybody right now is. You have plenty of people saying shit. Like right now, you look around the world, like, you don't have a problem of people saying stuff. What we have a problem with is people listening. And nobody's listening, right? Like, there's not one side, like, not the right, not the left. Like, nobody on either side is listening. And you got 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. And that's to listen twice as much as we try to talk. And it's such an important piece of communication that we're all missing right now in America. We're just a big dysfunctional family, right? But at the end of the day, we're family. We might talk shit to each other inside of us, but look, I always say, like, I would never wish another 9/11 on the United States of America, but I would give anything for another 9/12. And I think that's the epitome and that's the spirit of what America is, right? So I just hope that these countries, and look, China would never come at us. Like, it's never, there's not a snowball chance in hell of China ever trying to do anything military wise with us. But what I do hope, I hope our enemies, I hope that they are, if they ever try to do something to us, I hope that they're looking at what's going on right now and they're believing what the media is telling them. And I hope that they're looking at it as weakness, because I can tell you this, that we might look weak, but we are still the greatest country on the face of the planet. We're still the strongest country on the face of the planet. And at the end of the day, like, I have no doubt that everything would stop, the riots would stop, that everything would stop, and we would all join together if anyone on the outside of the family ever came here to fuck with us.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I also agree with the 9/12 thing, where it's that was such a great time in American unity. I mean, probably the best. I mean, for us three here that has been alive, there was never a time where we're more unified than that. And if we could have kept that going, man, who knows where America would be today? I mean,
yeah,
far ahead of where we are now. That's for damn sure.
Absolutely.
I think that's a good thing to hope for. Obviously, we don't want a 9/11, but whatever it takes to unify the country again, that isn't a mass casualty event, then man, that would be fantastic. I hope it's coming, and I hope it's not a disaster that brings us there. Because I know you're right. If somebody from outside of China or whatever comes, we're all going to get together and we're going to crush them, just like we've done many times in the past.
That's all we can hope for, right? All we can hope for is that everything that's going on in America right now, from coronavirus to riots to everything, that when all this shakes out, that we're a little bit better for it, right? Like I know this is going to sound so crazy, and look, there's nobody in the world who likes to fight more than I do, right? Like, I'm in. Like, if it's something that's like, look, I'll go give my life for a cause that I believe in at a moment's notice, right? But these rioters wouldn't, right? I don't see, and that's why I'm not really worried about it. Like, you have to worry about an enemy who's willing to give their life for it, right? You talk about guys I used to fight over in Iraq and Afghanistan. They were willing to get in a car strapped with tons of explosives and were willing to drive it into you, and for the thought and the idea of their purpose to kill you. They'll kill themselves, right? You don't have any of that in these rioters. You don't have any of that in Antifa. So we don't really have a dedicated enemy who believes. That's how you know their cause is not worthy, because they don't even believe in their own cause enough, right? So, we're fine. We're fine in America. We're going to be fine. And look, if I thought for 1 second that them coming and burning my house down would unite us 1%, 1% more, light it. But it's not, right? We all know that. And I think that, like, at the point that when we get there, I think we're going to be fine at the end of this. I think you're going to see it go away. I think you're going to see us come together. I think we're going to be all more conscious of it. I truly think that you're looking in another year, another 12 months, that we're going to look at this and a lot of things are going to be better. How? I don't know yet, but I have to believe in that, because the day that I stop believing in that is the day that you really lose hope. And like, the day you lose hope is the day you're just getting by.
I totally agree. You never doubt America. That's for sure. Never. Doubt it. No, if you do, you're going to be very disappointed, because it's going to come back and it's going to be successful over and over again. And it's the only, we are the only country like this in the world. And as you said, Eric and I have had the opportunity to travel all over the world, just like you have, Dakota. We've been to countries that I really love, countries that I don't love so much. And every time, from the best country that I've ever been to, I loved Spain and a few other countries I've loved. I love Netherlands, and we've been to a bunch together in Netherlands, and it was fun.
Middle East.
I didn't love as much, but we had a fun time in Kuwait, But when you come back every single time, whether you love it or hate it, you're like, wow, it's amazing we're here, because this place kicks the shit out of even the best. The worst, it's totally like transformative, because I've been to India a bunch of times. We come back, and I love India. I actually love India. It's like Mars. So when you come back from Mars, you're like, holy shit, I'm back. I can't believe all that going on. They're all shooting in the streets. And I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
As much as I love, and then there's lots of great parts of India too. India, the one cool thing about India is the people in India who are shitting in the streets aren't mad at the people that are driving in cars. It's like a peaceful coexistence between, an extreme amount of income disproportionality.
Oh yeah, no, it's a.
But on the flip side though, it's like you come back and you're like, wow, we got it so good. It's amazing that people here are upset because the poverty in America, the poorest people in America, don't even compare. They're not even remotely close to the poorest people in India. Poorest people in India never seen toilet paper in life.
But the people who are bitching in America right now, they haven't ever seen that perspective. All they've done is heard these other people who've gone there say this dumb shit like, if Trump wins, I'm moving out of the country, right? And guess what? None of them moved. I don't see any of them moving, right? Like all these people, like they think it's different other places, and they don't, look, let's make it better. Because I mean, I'm sure you don't walk into your company every day and say, man, I got a good company, because you got a good company. But I'm sure you don't walk in there and say, hey guys, we're good enough. Let's just keep it where it's at and let's don't make it better, right? Of course you don't. Just like we shouldn't as Americans. We should always try to progress and get better and to make us a little bit better and more united. And like, I think that's good in America. I think, we just look, we still, no matter what, there's not a country out there that could even on their best days compare to us on our worst.
Agreed. So with that, Dakota, I want to say thank you so much for being on the show. We appreciate your time. And I appreciate your friendship and everything that we've talked about and stuff off the air. And I'm excited to get back on the phone and plan the next big marketing, whatever thing we're going to talk about.
Let's do it, man. I'm in. I'm all in. I need to get down there and come hang out. I need to come down there and work out at the gym, get rid of this dad bod.
Bring a helicopter.
Yeah, helicopter down here, bro. Would that be hard?
It probably. I don't know. You know what I'll do? I'll route it out.
How many stops do you think you'd have to do from Kentucky to here? Oh, you're not in Kentucky now, right?
I would have to see. What's the airport code near you?
BCT. Boca Raton. Yeah, BCT.
Okay, here you are. I got you right here. I'm checking this out right now. So it would take me about 10 hours to get there. Faster than driving though.
Because you have to stop, right? Each one. How many stops do you think?
Probably 4.
4 stops.
3 stops in between. So I'd take 4 tanks.
So in your helicopter, if you have to take a piss, what do you do?
I'll just land in a field and take a piss, and I'll take back off.
Really?
Yeah, why not?
McDonald's.
Has that happened a lot?
Yeah, I mean, if I need to take a piss, like I'll just land in a field and take a piss.
Nice.
And then if you get hungry, like you can call Home Depot and you can ask the manager if they'll let you land in the parking lot, and run down Chick-fil-A.
You've done that before, I'm assuming.
I'm just saying I've heard, or I know a guy.
That's awesome. Well, thank you Dakota, for coming on, and I can't wait for your helicopter to land on our roof here.
All right, thank you guys so much.
When we hear it landing, we'll know that's Dakota.
We'll just call.
You'll know I'm there.
Yes, perfect. Thank you, Dakota. Thank you, buddy.
Have a good night.
Talk soon. So, should we go, Christian? Should we go to the questions or
2 questions?
All right.
We'll call it a day then, guys. Thank you so much for being or watching. Not being on the show.
They're on the show in a way.
You're on the show, sort of. Being and watching the Readiness Report. There's Ryan and Christian. Christian manning the computer. Ryan typing shit, pressing buttons and stuff. Who knows what he's doing?
He's probably on OnlyFans.
Yeah, he's on OnlyFans or Pornhub. He loves Pornhub, right?
The one and the same for him.
Yeah. So guys, thank you for watching. Next week's guest is I don't know who. We haven't picked him out yet or her out yet.
It's a mystery guest.
Mystery guest next week. I wish I could promote something exciting like Dakota, but we have somebody. I promise it'll be good. Maybe we'll do a bodybuilder next, since everybody, should we? You think?
Yeah, because
should I reach out to Mr. Kai L. Green?
Oh man, that'd be a long fucking podcast.
He doesn't answer quick.
One question could be 3 hours.
Yeah, Kyle Green may be on this week. Who knows? I could press him to be on the show.
Give old Leslie a call.
Leslie. Who else? Anybody else? I'd love to hear what you guys want to hear. Who do you want on the show? So next week, if you want to email Eduardo@redcon1.com, Eduardo@redcon1.com, and let him know who you want on the show. I'd love to bring your favorite guest to the show. Maybe we'll ask that on Instagram after the show when I post a clip or something. And anybody you want, hopefully I can get him, right? I mean, I assume if you're a bodybuilder, I can get Levrone. I can get Kevin Levrone. He's in. Get Kevin, maybe get Kevin and Flex on.
That'd
Kevin
be cool.
versus Flex, who would have been better at bodybuilder?
Have a little round table discussion.
That'd be cool. Kevin would be great. I love Kevin was my favorite. Not because if Flex is watching, I don't want Flex Wheeler to get insulted. But as a kid, my favorite pro bodybuilder was Kevin Levrone.
Same with mine.
More than anybody else. More than Dorian. More than Ronnie. Same with you.
Yeah,
More than
I was
Ronnie, more
actually
than Dorian.
Yeah, because I was actually part of Kevin's fan club.
Were you?
Yeah.
Oh, we gotta get Kevin. All right, we got Kevin. All right.
You got a T-shirt for a full-blown T-shirt?
Oh, we'll get Kevin.
Yeah, a letter that his ex-wife wrote, I think. So
Jackson. We'll get Kevin. You know why we'll get Kevin? Because we can have vodkas together. I can bring the vodkas out. We can have vodkas with Kevin, which very few people have that opportunity to do. I'm assuming Kevin will do the vodkas these days. I know he's found religion and a different purpose in life, but I'm hoping I can incite him to have a few vodkas with us.
I'm sure he can.
Will you have a vodka with Kevin?
Yeah, I'll switch up my liquor for the night.
You're not a vodka guy, but for Kevin, you would do it, right?
Why not?
All right.
I'll drink some rubbing alcohol.
So he'll
for
tell you. Well, he'll tell you. If you drink 2 of them though, before we go to bed, you'll wake up way drier.
That is the secret. And
that is the secret.
And he never should have taught Ronnie.
I have a video of Cedric doing that. And then one day I'll release.
Okay.
One day I'm not releasing it yet, but one day I'm gonna release Cedric doing it. It was an interesting video. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching the show. Appreciate you being on here, and we'll be back next week, Thursday, probably earlier because my son's birthday party thing is that night. So probably we'll do a midday show. What do you think? Midday show?
Why not? Because I think Kevin's overseas right now too.
Oh shit! Well, that maybe work
might
out
have to,
perfectly
yeah.
then. All right. Well, Kevin, you're on next week if you're watching. If you're not watching, somebody tell Kevin he's on next week. Bye, guys. Thank you.